MovieWeb.com.
Well, can you talk a little bit about the pre-production work that went into establishing each and every shot in this film? Because, I mean, each one is like a postcard in and of itself, and it's just a beautiful film to look at.
Yeah, I look at, you know, my process is I draw, so I started drawing the movie. I draw every frame. It's like over 2,000 drawings to, you know, to make up the movie, maybe closer to 3,000. And so, you know, and I'm pretty meticulous, and so really, you know, that's where it starts, and then, you know, the shots go to my production designer, my cinematographer, and we all constantly consult on every aspect of it. And till the day, as well as Michael Wilkinson, the costume designer, and like, to me, they're all, and they all know each other really well, and we've all sort of worked together before, so to create this kind of, you know, relationship that like leads us to this single frame that we're trying to create. And it's done with a lot of meticulous design, but, you know, hopefully, you know, I'm steering it so it has a consistency to it.
They call me Dr. Manhattan. They explain the name has been chosen for the ominous associations it will raise in America's enemies. They are shaping me into something gaudy. Something lethal.
Well, I was looking at pictures just a few minutes ago, and you look like Tron in this suit. I'm wondering, what did wearing this lighted up suit add to your performance, do you think?
A lot of discomfort, probably, and but it helped with the alienation part, and there was a sense of vulnerability I think I felt. That was kind of unexpected, because, you know, you accept the role as the master of all matter. You anticipate feeling a profound sense of power, and I didn't feel that ever at all until I saw the movie, and then I was like, I'd like to play that part.
And how well you did.
But I want to ask you, watching the film, Rorschach, it's so important that he has this mask on, and I've heard you talk before about like investing a little bit of your own self in this character. Did you come to a point where you felt naked without the mask yourself on the set?
No, I don't think so. No, I mean, I certainly would have, you know, if they had a called role, you know what I mean? Then you'd feel incredibly naked, but they would never do that because you're playing Rorschach, you've got the sock on your head. But, you know, it was a kind of a constricting experience, but it was also, you know, a very motivating experience having that sock on my head.
We need to squeeze people.
Sure. Why don't we just pick names out of a phone book?
You forgot how we do things, Daniel. You've gone too soft, too trusting, especially with women.
Okay, no, listen, I've had it with that. God, who do you think you are, Rorschach? You live off people while insulting them, and no one complains because they think you're a damn lunatic. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that, man.
Well, talking with you guys before about this film, it seemed like each of you had said that it was really important to find a bit of humanity inside the suits that you were wearing. I'm wondering if you could speak a little bit to that. Like you said, it was like important to find like the lifting of the goggles, just that like 1 second.
Well, I think that's all really from the artwork in the graphic novel. You try to, you know, luckily you're dealing with, when you're talking about a story that deconstructed the superhero, so you have those frames where, yeah, the goggles are up, the cowl is off, and I just haven't really seen that, you know, with the exception of one shot I remember in Dark Knight of Christian there holding the mask. You don't see a lot of getting into the suit, getting out of it. So that's the one thing that we really wanted to do with this one.
You know what I found really interesting is that
you know, since my character is forced into crime fighting, you know, this is sort of an outfit actually that her mother has picked for her. And throughout the process of, which is crazy,
She's a complicated
but
mother.
throughout the process of filming, you know, the first few weeks or month or so, you know, it was really sort of uncomfortable and trying to figure out how to do the fight moves and the heels and the, you know, and after a while, you know, towards the 6th month, it was clockwork putting it on, and so, and that's sort of Laurie's journey throughout the film as well. It's sort of finding her own, you know, her own independence and figuring out who she is, and so it kind of consecutively went with me getting comfortable with the outfit as well. So you kind of live through, I think that's in anything that you put on, anything that you do, the way you present yourself.
Now, did you ever think about putting on one of these costumes just to get the feel of the costume, or is that something you just stayed away from completely?
No, I have in my day dressed up as a superhero. I did it for a comic book in England, and actually my Facebook page has got me in that costume at the moment from several years ago. But no, I would have kind of liked to have a walk-on part, but what they actually did was, I've got a little signature, which is the letter G for Gibbons in a little box, and they sprayed that up on various places where there's graffiti in the background. I didn't see it when I went to see the movie, but I'm assured that you can really see that in a couple of frames, so that's almost like my little imprimatur on the whole thing.
Please, there's no need for violence.
Damn it, all right, that's how you want to do it?
This book is kind of constricting in that these characters never seem to escape the pages. I'm wondering, as actors, did you feel that same way on this practical set, like your characters never escaped the edges of this world that was created in Vancouver?
This world that was created was so vast. I mean, you know, we didn't need to escape that world. We were living in that world. We literally, you know, what Alan Moore and Dave Gibbons created, this alternate reality, became our reality for 6 months, longer. There was no escape, and we didn't want that as actors. What we wanted to do was dive into that world, and that's exactly what we did. Yeah, who wants to escape that world? When you're in it, when you're filming this thing, you're in it.
Your two characters at the end of this movie are the central point of how this thing changes. And I suspect you're going to have a lot of fans asking you personally what you thought about the change to the end and how important it was for this screen version of the film. I'm wondering if you can kind of talk about that.
Well, yeah. I think one of the reasons that people felt like it was very difficult to make it into a movie was because of how sweeping it was, and there's quite a bit of detail that's going to be left out if you try to put such an expansive piece of material into something that necessarily has to be under 3 hours or something. So there were some adjustments that had to be made, and I felt like when I read the script that he had done a really great job of telling a cohesive story there.
And it's quite a sidetracking storyline, the whole murdered psychic, you know, and on the desert island thing. And I think because you have to, you know, you'd rather trim that and be able to still sink money into doing the Black Freighter and get that one, so that can be made, you know, because that would have really, that's really going to make the fans happy, I think. So that's so you have to just sort of sacrifice the giant vaginal monster and rework that story a little bit. I think it really does make sense though, you know, with the film. I don't think it's off balance, you know, screwed with the balance too much at all.
When you saw the film, what was your initial reaction to seeing this world on the big screen?
Well, you know, I mean, it's a world I'm so familiar with, and I've kind of run my own imaginary movie when I was drawing it, and, you know, grabbed the individual frames that I drew. It was a dreamlike quality to it. It was like seeing that movie again, but fully realised. Yeah, it was, you know, one of the strangest experiences I've had in the whole of my life, probably.
The world will look up and shout, "Save us." And I'll whisper,